Title: Fake HOA cops pin my husband to the gate. I emptied the Glock 19. The knock at the door that night didn't sound right. It wasn't timid or polite. It was firm, entitled, like someone knocking on property they already believed was theirs. My stomach twisted before I even opened it. I glanced at the security feed on my phone. Two men in dark tactical uniforms, no badges visible, black caps that said HOA security. My heart sank. Our community HOA had been a nightmare since the day we moved in. They acted like dictators over lawn lengths and trash bins. But this was new. I whispered to my husband, Mark, "Stay back. Something's off," but Mark, being the calm, level-headed veteran he was, stepped outside. "Evening, gentlemen," he said. "Can I help you?" One of them flashed what looked like a laminated card. "We're responding to a complaint about illegal construction on this property." "Step aside, sir. We need to inspect." Mark frowned. "At 9:45 p.m.? You're not real police. Who sent you?" The taller man shifted his stance, hand hovering near his belt, not where a police holster would normally be. "Sir, don't make this difficult." And then it happened. Too fast. One of them grabbed Mark by the arm, twisting it behind his back and shoving him against the metal gate. Mark grunted, struggling, his voice sharp with pain. I froze for a split second. My hands trembled, but my instincts screamed louder than my fear. I knew those weren't cops. I knew those uniforms weren't right. And I knew that no one, not even the HOA, had the right to touch my husband like that. I sprinted to our bedroom, yanked open the drawer, and pulled out the Glock 19 Mark had taught me to use years ago. Just in case, my fingers were slick with sweat, my heart hammering like a drum in my ears. When I came back outside, one of the men was shouting, "Stay down, or this'll get ugly." Mark's face was pressed against the cold metal, his voice muffled. That's when I stepped out. "Let him go!" I shouted, my voice cracking but strong enough to make both of them turn. The shorter one sneered. "Ma'am, this is official HOA business." "HOA doesn't have cops," I snapped, raising the Glock. "And you're trespassing." They hesitated. That 1 second of shock was all I needed. My aim didn't waver. I didn't shoot to kill. I shot to warn. The first shot went into the dirt at their feet. The sound shattered the night. The second one hit the gatepost beside Mark, sending sparks flying. "Get your hands off my husband." Finally, reality seemed to sink in for them. The taller man cursed, yanked his partner back, and they both ran for their black SUV parked at the curb. I shouted after them, "The sheriff's on the way," even though I hadn't called yet. Mark stumbled toward me, rubbing his wrists. His face was pale but steady. "You okay?" I asked, lowering the gun. He gave a shaky laugh. "You just scared the hell out of them." "You did good, honey." I dialed 911 immediately, and within minutes, 2 real sheriff's deputies arrived. Their flashing lights washed over the street like a wave of relief. After hearing what happened and reviewing our camera footage, one deputy's expression hardened. "These guys aren't HOA security," he said. "They've been impersonating officers in nearby neighborhoods, trying to intimidate homeowners for access codes and info." "You're lucky you acted fast, Lucky." The word stuck with me, because it hadn't felt like luck. It had felt like survival. Over the next few days, the real HOA board tried to distance themselves, claiming they had no idea who those men were. But neighbors came forward. Apparently, the board president's son had hired those security guys to enforce HOA rules after residents ignored his warnings. When the sheriff's department made arrests a week later, I felt the tension in my chest finally ease. Justice had a slow step, but it arrived. That night, sitting on the porch with Mark, I asked him quietly, "Did I go too far?" He shook his head, sliding his hand into mine. "You didn't go too far. You stood your ground. That's what you do when people try to take what's yours." His words hit me deeper than he probably realized, because it wasn't just about our property. It was about respect, safety, and the right to live in peace without being bullied or threatened. Weeks later, I replaced the old gate, the one they'd pinned Mark against, with a stronger, taller one, a quiet symbol of resilience. Now, every time I hear the faint creak of that gate, I remember that night, the fear, the adrenaline, and the strength I never knew I had until I needed it. Because sometimes courage doesn't roar. Sometimes it whispers, not my home, not today. And that whisper can be louder than any bullet. Moral: stand firm when your safety, your dignity, or your loved ones are on the line. Evil often hides behind authority, but truth, courage, and unity will always expose it.